In this tutorial we'll go over putting a floor in the garage area as well as underneath the main area of the home. To put a floor in the garage area, floors go downward just like the structural elements of the footings and foundation walls that we've already discussed. And the floor in the garage area is going to sit at the grade level. So I'm going to find the grade level in my project browser and go there first and put that simple garage floor in there. The floor tool is on the architecture tab of the ribbon. It exists right here, this floor tool. There are different types of floors predefined in these templates, one of them being a concrete 4-inch slab, which is a typical floor for a garage. There are different ways to sketch floors. If you look at the draw panel inside the ribbon here, when you're in the floor tool, you see that you have the ability to sketch boundaries of floors by picking and drawing lines or picking walls or picking existing lines. Floors are a little different than other tools that we've used to this point, where you actually have to sketch a boundary first and then finish it by hitting the green check mark, and it will then create the floor. Because this is a simple rectangular floor, I'm going to use the rectangle tool and then zoom in here to this corner of my garage and just snap there to that inside corner and then go to the opposite inside corner to define the boundaries of my garage. That is as simple as it can be to create a floor. There are rules that you have to follow. They have to be a closed loop, similar to what we did when we showed you how to edit the profile of a wall in class. If I'm following the rules and I hit that green check mark, everything should just go as planned. If I haven't followed the rules, it will come up with an error message and tell me that I need to go fix it. So we have a garage floor that's been created now using the floor tool, and if I wasn't happy with how it turned out, I can always go back in and select that floor and then edit its boundary and make whatever changes I want to it. Floors are kind of hard to get a hold of to select them because things like to be selected by default on their edges, and the floor's edges sometimes are underneath walls and things like that. If you come over here, there's a tool that says select elements by face, and if I turn that on, I now can select that floor by its face instead of an edge. And once that floor is selected, you'll be able to see that you have this option to edit the boundary. It will allow you to go in and edit the sketch of that floor so that you can make changes to it if you'd like. I don't need to make any changes to it, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish it again and create that floor. Once I've done the garage floor, I can work on a floor for the rest of the home. That floor is going to sit at the first floor level, so I'm going to go back to my first floor view. There are different types of floors, and if you think back to discussions that we had in class discussing the different philosophies of how do you model in floors with more detail or less detail, that's kind of what we're talking about here. You can make floors as detailed as you want by modeling in all the individual floor joists and then a subfloor on top of that and then finishes. We're just going to simply do a simple floor to show you how to create it for this house. I'm going to go back into my floor tool right here, and prior to sketching the boundaries, I'm going to come to my properties box and the type selector, and I'm going to use this wood truss joist 12-inch with carpet finish as a basis to begin with. And I'll edit its type and duplicate it. I just don't want to be having carpet going underneath my walls, so I'm going to take off the carpet finish and just have a wood truss joist with subfloor to model with. First thing is to change the name, and then I can go in and edit the structure, and I will delete, highlight that carpet layer and delete it from this floor. Just hit OK and OK, and I now have a floor type that is just going to be a representation of floor joists and a subfloor. Using this tool, which is the Pick Walls tool, I'll now define the boundaries of my floor. In the options bar, you'll see that this is highlighted to extend these boundaries into the wall, meaning into the core. And we do want it to do that in this case because we want our floor to go underneath our framed walls to the outside face of stud. So if I have that selected and I come out here and pick on that exterior wall, you'll see that I have a line that gets highlighted for the boundary to the outside face of stud. Using the Pick Walls tool, if I just pick right now, I will have that boundary highlighted. And I can go around my home picking that boundaries. Sometimes that boundary does not want to go to the side that you would like it to go to, and that's okay because you can always flip that after the fact. So if I pick right here, I wanted it to go to the outside, but it went to the inside. Now it shifted back to the outside, and I can finish off picking the boundaries of my floor. I want to fix this over here. Watch what happens when I flip this boundary. It automatically knew that it needed to flip the other one, and it went ahead and made that change for me right now. Now if I just take a look at my floor boundaries right now, I haven't followed the rule that says it needs to be a closed loop. I'm going to go ahead and finish it right now so I can show you the error message that pops up. If I hit that green check mark, it's going to come up and say that there was an error, that you can't have these lines intersecting, or it may in another case say that you have a gap there. It has to be a continuous loop. If this error message comes up, this is one you cannot ignore. You have to either say I'm going to quit my sketch, which will discard everything you just did, or you can say continue, which will allow you to go and fix the problem. So I'm going to hit continue right here, and I just need to clean that corner up. I can clean that up by using my trim tool, and I'm going to trim to a corner right there like that. And one other thing I would like to point out at this point is this line here where you see this set of triple parallel lines, that is showing you what's called the span direction of the floor. Now if I'm just getting a floor in there, I don't need to worry so much about a span direction. But in reality, if I was designing this house, I would have floor joists running not the length of the home, but the shorter distance. And to change a span direction, I simply can come here to the span direction tool and then pick an existing boundary edge that I now want to become the span direction, and you'll see that it will update itself. If I hit finish, I should have a floor that gets created underneath the rest of my home. Let's go to the 3D view and take a look at what's happened there. If I look in my 3D view right now, I have a unfinished floor, but it's represented by an area that's floor joists and a subfloor, and I now have a concrete slab in the garage as well. This concludes creating floors for Project 1.